Hey, how are you? I'm Janicia and welcome to my channel. So my fall garden is kind of a failure, just a little bit. So I had all these plans for what I was going to do this fall, how many vegetables I wanted to grow. I even planted some seeds and most of them were failures. In this area, for instance, my daughter and I planted some carrots here, but for some reason they barely came up. They didn't even germinate. We haven't really had any rain. But even then, through all this failure, right, there's some blessings that came about that I'm happy about. Like, for instance, I got squash growing. Look how big and beautiful it is. And right here, we have watermelon growing, right? And my herbs, they bounced back, even though over the summer they had a real beating. And then my son and I, we made this bed, this raised bed, and we decided that we'll grow some beets in here. Not only beets, but also kohlrabi. And over here, I decided to grow some parsley. The parsley took forever to germinate, but they finally did and they're growing. But hooray, that's all things I'm grateful for. I know you guys are wondering, why do you have a tent in your backyard? Well, we've been camping out for the past week and it's been awesome. I had a lot of zinnias that were in my yard that was growing, but a lot of them became very mildewy and they died back, so I got rid of them, which makes me sad because it's not really cold yet and I would appreciate to have my zinnias still. I love using them as my cut flowers. I have my amaranth right here, which were going crazy. They decided that they didn't like each other and they wanted to be apart from each other. But they are going to seed and I'm going to try to collect the seeds. So I'm going to cut the heads off and see if I can get these seeds off. Oh yeah, it's very easy to collect. Fun fact about me, I actually really love amaranth seeds. I love having it for breakfast, and I also like having it as if it's rice or something like that. I must admit though, that I did not enjoy my amaranth as much as I should have this summer. It was just more so they were there. I ate them, but I felt like the bugs got more out of them than I did. There's just so much heads to collect. If you had a garden this year, I hope that your garden was successful. And if you are planning to have a garden next year, or you're watching this in the future, I hope that you have a really good garden and that it rains. We had a lot of things that happened this year that made it very hard for the garden. Sometimes you do really good and then sometimes it's like, eh. It would be so wrong of me if I totally only blamed external factors and not just blame also myself. Anyway, okay, this bowl is definitely not big enough. Look, this bed was definitely not a failure. I am really happy about this bed. It looks great. It's exactly how I envisioned my fall garden will look. Greenery and just These are albino beets. My son really wanted to grow them. It's something that he told me that albino beets are used to make sugar beets or something like that. I don't recall, to be honest. I don't really know. He knows better than me. So he knows what he wants to do with these, but I want to encourage him to always want to grow something. So I'm very proud of him. I helped him a little bit, but he did most of the work. So this is something for him to be proud of, and I'm very proud of it. You got a bigger bowl. This bowl should be better. Here you go, have fun. On another positive note, my greenhouse. Amazing. I love it. The only thing is that something keeps eating my tomatoes. I should have planted more basil and more marigolds. My marigolds did die back, but a basil and marigold would have actually helped a little bit more with this, but that's okay. Oh, you finished? By yourself? Thank you. Oh, amaranth. So we're gonna collect the seeds. I'll probably do this on the inside of my house, but amazing. So we still have my peppers, which are doing pretty good in here. Tomatoes, which are in abundance. I also still need to trim these back over and over again, but that's okay. Peppers in abundance. I actually planted some arugula here that I wanted to just pick and just eat as I go. So I'm gonna thin these out a little bit more. Over here, here's some carrots still. More peppers. Peppers everywhere. Some peppers over here that looks beautiful. Basil. And so everything looks pretty good. Only on this side, I'm going to plant something there right now. Now my hands smell like basil. Smells good. Since a lot of my seeds did not germinate, I have these. So we have collard greens here, and what is this one? Cabbage. I think it's time for me to put them in the ground because, so cabbage and collard greens. I want to put them in the greenhouse. Let's go. Normally I would make 2 rows here. I'm only going to plant the cabbage in one section each going down. Yes, I know that I can use more space, but I think I just rather them have a little bit more space than what I normally do. So cabbage, look, this cabbage looks crazy. It does not look, doesn't look like he's ready for success. Just, you know, but that's okay. I'm gonna go get lots of water so that I can put here and so that I can make him grow up to be successful. So we have our water, which I put some fish emulsion in here, and ew, it touched me. We got this baby in there. Last year, if you guys were with me, I had so much wood chips here, and look, it's mostly broken down. I wouldn't be able to harvest these till next spring anyway. That's fine with me. I'm okay with it. They'll live all winter, and it should be okay in here. Since this one is very tiny anyway, it's very small, I don't have to plant it so deep and disturb my pepper roots, because I want my peppers to stay as alive as long as they can. As long as they can. Okay. The amazing thing is that I could save these and I could reuse these next year for my spring garden. Oh yeah. So this video is supposed to be about my failures, right? Okay. So this area right here, I planted lettuce here numerous times, planted carrots, nothing. And even my my collard greens are struggling, so I need to cover those. And one of them was eaten down basically to nothing. So I'm going to plant the other collard greens right here in the same area. I guess so I could fill some more. I don't know. But it's very frustrating that nothing came up and everything else is struggling. I'm going to cover this with some netting. I'm actually going to shut down my greenhouse with all netting from now on. I have it open on one side and it's getting cooler. And so I'm just going to just shut the whole thing down. I had one part open because I thought it would be easy for my children to water my garden and so forth and so on. Now I know that maybe that was type of a mistake. And also I wanted the bees and pollinators to still come into my greenhouse. So now let's plant my dead looking collard greens. Let's see if they live. I planted all those collard greens and the broccoli, not broccoli, it's cabbage. Planted the cabbage on the other side, and I want to show you guys one of the things I am super proud of. So over here is at the side of my greenhouse. I know it don't look so pretty, it don't look that great, but I want to tell you guys this. This year, I basically mounted up like a bunch of old firewood that we had. So right here, right? And I just stacked them together because they were breaking down anyway. I did 2 squash plants there. I did 2 different types of squash. So one of them I did was Long Island cheese and the other one was the butternut squash. My butternut squash gave me one tiny butternut squash and then it died. And then the Long Island cheese squash plant, it surprised me because I've tried growing this a few times. I've tried growing it a few times, numerous times, over and over again. And it never really produced. It only gave me maybe 1 fruit and then it died back and that fruit never lasts. It was just always issues. And I said, okay, I have a few seeds left. I'm gonna plant a few and then I'll never ever grow this again. I'll give maybe the seeds to my parents or one of my friends who garden and see if they have any luck with it. And lo and behold, this year, I've been blessed. This was my first squash plant and I said, okay. And out of nowhere, I decided to plant my sweet potatoes over here. And then for some reason, look, another one. Can you guys see it? Look, see it? So pretty. I'm on my neighbor's side. Out of nowhere over here, there's more. I'll show you guys on my phone because, you know, look right here. Another one. And then behind it is another one. That amazed me. So I know for a lot of you guys who garden all the time, this is not a big deal for you, but it's a big deal to me. Why? Because in previous years, I used to have three large pine trees that shaded everything. This is the south side of my yard and it shaded everything and I had trouble growing things. My produce wasn't as big. I wasn't having as much success. And then now this year, this is my first summer growing with all of this sunlight and it's a little bit too much sunlight now, but I'm learning to just work around it. And I realized that especially in the month of July, August, here in the state of Georgia, it is very hard to garden. It is a challenge, especially if you do not have something as a drip irrigation system, which I do not have. So those are the things that was challenging for me, but I feel so blessed. I feel good about this. Like, especially in my shadier area, everything did really well. Let me show you something else. This right here is my bed. This is ginger that I grew here. My ginger this year looks way better than my ginger last year. Like, it looks so lush and beautiful and it smells great. Smells like ginger. And I'm hoping that I will get a really good ginger harvest this year. I can't wait to put my fresh ginger in kombucha. I love kombucha and ginger kombucha is mwah, mwah. So yes, this is another Long Island cheese squash plant. And it's been showing itself off, like doing so good. Also over here we have some squash that's growing. So even though my fall garden was not exactly the way how I planned in my mind, I honestly feel blessed and I honestly feel grateful that I have the opportunity to still have a garden. I don't always get it right and that's okay. I'm still learning. This is a few years I've been gardening now, but this is my first year that I've been thinking about it more on a larger scale rather than just a hobby. One thing is for sure is that I was an example to my children. I found a love for gardening from my grandmother. She had a sort of love for natural foods, for foraging for foods, for growing her own things, and for eating all natural, unprocessed foods. So on that note, I thank you for watching this video, and I hope that you would subscribe to my channel.